to the journey, and hello everyone. This is an idea that started with Dr. Robinson here, and Dr. Robinson and I, we've been knowing each other for a while now. How long has it been?
Oh my, it's too long. It's been at least 6, 7 years.
Right, and
Yeah.
we've been doing a lot of things over the years. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, and I've been blessed over the years to be able to, I guess, interact with youth, and part of my passion. Still trying to figure out where it came from, but for 9 years I actually had a television show. Our television shows, our produced shows, that was all youth based on Orange TV. In addition to that, over the years I was like a counselor during the summer for the city and different organizations from Jacksonville to Daytona to here in college. But Dr. Robinson, why don't you give us a little background?
Well, I'll give you the short version, and that is it starts out in Jamaica, the West Indies, and moves to Harlem, then to, like the Jeffersons moving uptown to Mount Vernon, New York. Since then, I went to school in the Midwest, came back to New York, wound up in upstate New York in snow country, and that's what got me to Florida. The name of the show, The Journey, is very much what I've felt most of my life, that I've been on a journey that has been an external journey from place to place, but even more so an internal journey. And this show, we felt, Charles and I, felt that it was important to talk about some of those things that were of concern to ourselves, to our community, and to our families. So we're hoping that we're going to bring you some interesting vignettes, perhaps a little bit of controversy. We hope that we're going to make this as interesting and worth your time as possible. And so with that tonight, we started off our topic with a discussion that Charles and I have had over time about young people. As you heard, Charles has been very interested and involved with young people and working with them for some years. And I see young people in my clinical practice. Now, before I go further, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer, and that is I am a clinical psychologist, but on this show and tonight, this is not therapy. This is not a psychological intervention. This is information and also entertainment. But if you would like to talk to me after the show about concern of yours, please feel free. But I'd like to turn it over to Charles now to add a little bit more in.
Well, when you talk about entertainment, that means that he gets to sing and dance during the show. So we're gonna look forward to that, right?
Don't believe it. It'll hurt your eyes if I try any of those things.
But anyway, we were talking, and I was talking with Dr. Robinson a while back, and you will see me look around because I'm actually switching the show. I'm going on the internet, doing like 4 or 5 different things at once. So that's kind of like part of the show of what's going on here. But as I was saying, as you look, we have the guests here, and we have 2 mothers, and no, you're fine. We have 2 mothers with sons, and I was talking with Dr. Robinson because we originally was going to do the show on something else, and just by chance, Mr. Austin right here came in, and been knowing Austin for how long was doing the mic.
About almost 9 years.
Right, and Austin is 17 right now.
Actually, then it's 10 years.
Yeah. So Austin is being mentored by Mr. Washington, and also he's a mentor for me as well. And so we talk, and so we kind of share ideas, and we laugh and we joke, and of course Austin is 17, so a lot of times when we have conversations like this right here, and if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Austin went out on his first date. How long ago was that?
My first official date with the young lady that I'm with right now. Had to say maybe a week ago. It's actually a relatively new relationship.
And see, that's what I like because he actually called it out. Because when I was his age, I wouldn't have actually officially called it out. I would have said I went, but that's good.
Exactly.
So he's a little step ahead of me.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the young people today are ahead of all of us, in the ages that where we came up. And I'd also like to introduce you to Julia, who is sitting to our left on the couch, and to Eric, her son. And one of the things that I'd like to ask them, perhaps in starting out, as we talked about official, dates, etc., and that is, when is it the appropriate time, the right time to start dating?
Well, actually, you know what? Let me ask this question first. As the mother, and I'm hearing her talk in the office. I think he started dating. Yes, no. Yes, no.
Sorta, kinda.
So my
Okay.
question to you was, as a mother, what did you think the very first time you heard that your son possibly was going out on a date or he was starting to date? As a mother.
Well, I don't see anything really wrong with it as long as I'm around. So we are dating.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Well, I think it's best for us to do the chaperone thing right now, and maybe it could go farther, as in being that it's just the trust building. Let's build trust, and from there, then we'll take a step at a time.
Okay, now let me ask. Now, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think that she should let me go on by myself and have trust in me because I'm her son. That's what I think.
Okay, now
You don't think the same?
I'm going to let Dr. Robinson respond to that. I'm going to let Dr. Robinson respond. And how do you feel, or how do you deal with that? Because I know that's kind of a very common thing. As far as counseling or talking to parents, and of course the child feel this way, of course, which is normal, and the parent goes, no, let me say what is best for you. How do you usually, what do you find in when parenting, dealing with the kids, and when those bridges are crossed?
Well, I think that that's one of the toughest decisions for parents to really face. As you could hear Julia saying, who usually is someone who doesn't have any difficulty in voicing her opinion, that really think about it. And I think that most parents, when they think about what it takes to permit their child to date, have to really think very carefully. In the U.S., some of the background information is that many young people begin to date from the age of 13 to 16 in that time range. But I would say, and I'm going to go back to the two parents that are here, it really depends on the individual. There are some young people that are a little younger who are very mature in their attitude and their sense of responsibility. And quite frankly, there are some 20-somethings that if I had anything to say about it, I would say that they weren't ready to date anybody. But from the parents, again, what do you think about, and perhaps how did you make the decision to allow your young man to date?
Well, with my son, we've actually always had, like Julia said, we dated, not just my son was dating. Even when he was younger, he had a almost 3 year relationship, but I was also there. We got along with the parents, and we went out and did everything together. This relationship right now, we're dating again because I take him there, and I'm okay with it. I'm there, and the parents appreciate it. It's not just me, but the other parents appreciate it as well because they feel the trust is there, and they also allow the daughters to do more because of an adult being there.
Okay. Julia, did you want to add anything more on that?
Well, actually, I feel that it's a lot of teens may feel, my son may feel, that I'm crowding his space, but at the end of the day, I feel that it gives him a sense of being responsible and building that trust to where one day you will be able to go out and you will know how to treat a lady and respect her and respect yourself.
Okay. Eric, I see you smiling over there. What's your thought on that?
I don't really know.
Okay.
No.
You won't be held responsible for your answer, but go ahead. Right.
Well, let me see. I think that's a good enough excuse to she just want to be there. That's it.
Okay.
That's really it.
Well, Eric, I wanted to give you a little leeway. What about friends of yours? Do you see many of your friends also having their parents along on dates, and what are their thoughts?
No, I don't see none of my friends having parents there. They either have their older sister or older brother there.
No,
Okay,
no.
go ahead.
The funny thing, we was teasing Austin because Austin went out on a date, and his very first date. Won't you tell us no. First of all, just to help you, Austin, tell us who was on your first date.
Actually, it wasn't just my mom. It was actually my girlfriend's younger brother as well. So it was either if her eyes weren't on me, his were, and if his eyes weren't on me, hers were. So I had two people to look out for.
So what I'm trying to get him to understand is that, see, she was on the first date too. I mean, she was on the date too, is what I'm trying to get you to understand.
Okay.
But we were talking, and the actual cost of the date, which was more of a conversation, because we was like, what? Because I was telling about when I was his age, when I went on a date, it probably may have cost me maybe $10, $12, maybe $15,
Right.
maybe 12, somewhere around
Well,
there.
and back in my day, definitely 10 and under.
Right. So I'm sitting here and so we're all intrigued about this date because Austin's dating. Austin because we have talks about these girls. And all of a sudden, we're talking, and then it's like, Austin went out on a date. So then he tells the story about going to the movie. Then he tells the story about the brother that was there. Then he talks about Miss Glenda was there. But the funny thing was, then we found out how much that the date cost. So then we looked at Austin like, okay, Austin, where did you get the money? And I'll let you finish from there. I'll let you finish telling that story. How much did the date cost, and how did you get the money to pay for the date?
So this date in particular was around, I think it was a little more, but it was about $80. 80 with an 8 and a 0.
Right.
Yes. And I actually didn't even pay for everything. So she actually covered me on some things. I paid for the tickets, 4 tickets. So my mom, my girlfriend's little brother, and me and my girlfriend. And so that's 4 tickets. I think we went to Regal, and that was $44, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was pizza before the movies, and I don't even remember what that was. I was like, all right, I can cover the pizza. You know, maybe tickets are going to be maybe around the same amount. Something I'm spending, you know, maybe $40 tops. And then there was candy and popcorn and soda. That's where they get you at the movies. It's the candy and the soda. She was like, Austin, I know. When you reach out your pocket and you pull out your wallet, like it hurts you. So no, I'm gonna give you some leeway. I'm gonna pay for all that. I'm like, thanks, Mom. So
What was that after the movie?
after the movies, I did a couple more. I think we went to Krispy Kreme's, which is actually my favorite donut place, and we bought those donuts and she actually helped me out more with that. So I think maybe I might have spent around 120 on one date. If all, I'm just guesstimating, if I've spent all the money on that. And actually, before this girlfriend, I had been waiting for a while, and one of the whole reasons that I was waiting was because I didn't have any money. Right now I have a job. You know, to make up for that. But I didn't have any money back then. So I was like, oh my gosh. I reached into my pocket, no money. And I was just like, man, these girls are gold diggers. So a lot, and the only money that I was getting was either from like birthday or Christmas money. And like I felt so poor by the end of the relationship. It's like once the money runs out, like they leave you. I'm like, what? So I was waiting for a while before I actually had any cash.
You know,
Okay.
that's interesting.
That's a very critical piece, because you know there's a plus and a minus, and I say these to the young men, that while having mom or an older person on the date can seem disadvantage, that there are some advantages that are there. What do you think about that, Eric?
Now since I heard this story, it's a good thing to have you with you. You can ask them for all the money. And say, now I'm young, I can get a job and put that money up for college or something. And make
Oh,
them spend the money.
Isn't it interesting how they process?
So I have something to say. Are you dating her or are you not dating her?
But you said we both on a date. So we both dating her.
We're both dating her. Oh, okay.
You said spend the money though.
Oh, I gotta spend the money.
And I said, what up?
And you save your money.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna talk about this at home.
Look, no, everything should stay in this area.
well, you know, since we're talking about, you know, just how involved parents are in dating and all some of the dynamics now, just moving a little deeper into the topic, one of the things, and this is, I'm going to ask the young men to respond to this, and that is, when do you kiss a girl on the date, and on which date?
Ooh. Yeah, now you're on the hot spot. And moms are sitting right here.
Any, many, money, no.
No, since you're dating, you should go first.
Give us your theory.
Don't trap me.
So I'm just gonna be honest.
Oh, okay.
The first kiss should, in my opinion, should be when you're alone with her, and you can slightly, you know, ever so make the moment romantic with maybe one of your cheesy pickup lines. But try to get her laugh or something, even if it's cheesy. But typically, just you try to have to be alone, and the moment has to be slightly romantic. And when your mom and her little brother is around making fart noises, you know, that's you can't really make a move. That happens.
Well, Austin, did you say making fart noises?
Yeah, that's all they do. They just like make the moment awkward and everything. So
I have a part button on my phone.
yes, she does. It's horrible. But
Say the romance just went out the
yes,
window.
so romance out the door, out the window. There's none. But and honestly, my first kiss with my current girlfriend was actually in the car ride home. So that wasn't much of a romantic moment. I wish it was, but that was the best I could do.
Okay.
So
Let me ask you this right here.
yes.
How do you think she felt about your mom being there and her brother there? How do you think she felt about that?
Actually, my girlfriend and my mom get along A little too well, actually. It's a little scary. I was just kind of sitting in the car in the back seat and just kind of watch them. It's actually they should have their own TV show. They're really funny. But I think she's pretty decent with my mom around. Her little brother, they'll have their little sibling arguments or their little fights, but they also joke around and stuff. So I think she's pretty comfortable with them too.
Okay. There you go.
Well, I think you should wait until you see how she is first, and I say that should take like my honest opinion. I say about 4 days, and then you should tell her she has something on her forehead, and then give her a kiss.
Cheesy line, son.
No, why would you get a cheesy line? You wasting breath to do all that.
Something on her forehead.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one.
And she gonna look, and when she come up, she gonna see you. Y'all just kiss.
Has that worked before?
That's your son.
Kind of sort of. If it don't work, you do what you said. A cheesy line or something.
I could hook you up with a few of those after this.
Let me
Television.
Let me ask you this. Mothers, I'm talking to the mothers now. Pretty sure Dr. Robinson could attest to this. That times have changed so much now that the young ladies are much more aggressive. I can sit here and tell you, I see your heads nodding. That back when we were coming up, you always had the aggressive ones. If there were 10 girls, maybe there may be one and a half, maybe two.
In my day, a half.
Right. But now it's maybe 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. And I'm just guessing maybe 7 out of 10 that are just a tad bit more aggressive than what they used to be. As mothers, how have you dealt with that? Have you thought about that? How would you deal with that?
To me, that's been quite easy. I told my son, I said, don't bring trash home. If you bring trash home, I don't bring trash home. I don't expect trash home. If you do bring some trash home, I will bring someone home that you will feel very uncomfortable with and see how you like it. I haven't had an issue.
Okay.
All right.
That's
That's
okay.
kind of like don't
Yeah.
bring any trash home. Okay. All right.
Well, for my son, I tell him that I take the trash out. I ain't with all that. Get you a decent young lady. Because a lot of girls these days, this is the millennium, and they are grown at 12. And see, Eric, he really knows how he wants someone to treat his sisters, being that he does have 3 little sisters.
Wow.
He's more responsible than most 15-year-olds. So I think that we really haven't got to that point yet, to him bringing somebody home, because I don't know how to take it. So we just slow rolling right now.
It's. I'm going to share something with you, and Dr. Robinson, you probably will be able to relate. It's funny because in Bible study last week, my pastor Jenkins, we were talking about dating, and when he was saying what he was saying, I was trying to place myself in a place where he said you should be. And you would understand this. It's kind of hard for the females to step into our world and understand our mindset.
It's males.
Right. And I know for a fact that for somebody to explain to me that this is not a place I should be, it would have been very hard. And not that I was in a bad place, but at 16 years old, I didn't understand that I wasn't mature enough to deal with the dating thing. There's no way, and not that they won't or wouldn't. it's just that I'm thinking back, and I'm thinking about my mindset. I'm thinking about being a 15, 16-year-old kid, looking at the world the way that I looked at it, and I'm going, I don't know how or what conversation that I could have had or that could have helped me understand a little better. I just don't know how that could have happened being such a child.
Right.
But life taught me I wasn't ready because of what happened in my senior year when we started to break up. And I look back on it now, and it's like a time in which I can't get back. And I regret so much because I was too immature to deal with what was in front of me.
Yeah. Charles, as you're talking, you know, and I really appreciate your honesty. I think that's why we've continued our dialogue, you know, over this time.
Right.
And the first thing, you know, and you may hear me talking very basically, what I hear you saying and breaking it down is that, you know, you are a horny young man.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see,
And wait, just wait, hold it with me. Okay.
But hold on. But yes and no. Yes.
Okay.
But
Okay,
no,
now we
no,
got the honesty part. Okay.
But the thing was, it was more of I like girls. It just period. It wasn't
Well, that-
horny, yeah, but
That kind of helped the horniness.
right.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, there was nothing like the comfort, the company of being with a girl. Aside all of that added to it, but the whole idea, the whole discovery of, as you know, the hormones are going all over. the place
Right.
and you're trying to-
Exactly.
But I just liked girls.
Okay.
Because I never went through that period. You know how they say how you're a little kid and the little boy don't like girls? I never went through that. I was in kindergarten liking the girls, you know, 4
Right.
or 5 years old.
Right, okay.
So I never went through that stage where get away from, no, I like girls.
Right. And part of and I really understand what you're talking about, even though you were also a horny young man.
Yes, definitely was.
But the sense of the sense of wanting to be with girls, I think that there is, in addition to the hormones that drive about wanting to be with someone that you can be comfortable with, that you can share some things with, that you can have some fun with, I think is also one of the drives, you know, that are also there. And I would say, and I'm going to ask the young men to speak up on this, and we're going to get, as I say, a little deeper into the whole thing, and that is, and I know this may be tough for you as young men, especially with your mom sitting here, but again, in relating to girls, at this point, just how important is sex in your relationship with the girls at this point?
Wow. Let's see who can man up here and actually be honest. Because we understand.
Right.
And see, let me help you out. Okay, let me help you out. They're not going to understand the way we understand.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
First of all, they're just not. They're not going to understand the way we understand. Okay. Because that whole theory, we walk in the room with something totally different. Totally different.
There you go.
Trust me. Okay. And they're going to look at you like you an alien.
That's it. But we got your back.
Right. And then in addition to that, I'm sorry. In addition to that, which the mothers can relate to, even more so with what's going on in society with the music, the movies, just in general, and how now everything is just right there, pushed in your face. You know, and at such a young age, it's just so different. So, not that it gives you a free pass, but it's even more so than when I was your age, and when
Yeah, and you know that's probably one of the biggest contrasts that I think that I see between, let's say, the folks in my generation and young people now, is that they are so exposed to so much sexuality in the advertisements, in the songs and the music, and it's just
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's just, I mean, we can go
So-
on to talk about it for so many things. I've dealt with kids and organizations and this and that and this. And I just telling friends about a week or so ago. I remember I had this young lady who was teaching the young kids dance, and they were over at Restore Hope Orlando, and brought them over there. And I refused to videotape them. I said, I'm not going to videotape that. I said, you have these young kids, and their minds are open right now, and this is what you're teaching them. Basically, they were dropping it like it was hot. And the girl was doing the hoochie hoochie, and they were like 12, 11 years old. And I'm like, there's no way in the world that I would give you my child to spend 2 or 3 hours every Monday through Friday, and they coming home with this, and they didn't see nothing wrong. And I'm like, but I'm saying that's how the times are.
Well, we've given the young man enough time to kind of clean it up, et cetera. But go ahead, Eric.
Can you ask the question again?
Okay. Just how important, or let me put it this way, how much do you pay attention to sex or sexuality in your relationship with girls?
I say it's
On a
like
scale from 1 to 10 is what?
5. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the other
Wait
five-
a minute, Eric. Hold on a second now. You're talking to two guys here. Come on.
Yeah, it's 5 because the other 5 is how y'all gonna do it in a relationship, and mostly you're gonna be thinking about that, but you're gonna see how she treats you first, and then you're gonna see if she, like he said, a gold digger first.
Okay.
And if she not a gold digger, y'all probably. It depends on if your mom not there.
Okay. Let's say. Well, let's say mom is not there.
Oh well, yes, that's like
Ten.
yes.
Yeah, because, for a second I was like, really, a 5?
right.
I don't know if y'all was saying if your mom was there or not, but now if I know they're not there, it's a 10.
Okay. And I just want to pause. That's Eric. Thank you for that. That's really important because a lot of the times, young people on their own, because there is so much pressure, both in terms of peer, and also that sense of independence, that a lot of the time, young people who would ordinarily make one set of judgments with parents or older folks around may make a whole totally different decision when they're on their own. And I think that those times of vulnerability are the ones that often, as parents and as older folks, that we need to pay attention to, so that we give young people some independence, some trust, but also know that they're faced with making some complex decisions about what, when, and where to get more intimately involved with girls or their love interests. Okay, Eric, would you endorse that?
I say yes, I will. But what do you mean by that?
Okay, in other words, that you would go further with a girl without your mom there, or without an older person. Let's say not even your mom, but without an adult on the scene. If you were just either by yourself or with your peers there, that you would go further in exploring a sexual experience with a girl than if there was an adult around.
But I say not on the first date though. You should get to know her first.
Okay, no, we
Then,
right. No, we're talking about a few dates down the road.
a few dates. Yeah.
Oh.
Because you gonna know your mom like her, your sister don't like her, and your dad like her. So why not?
Okay, we're gonna come back to that. But Austin, what's your thought?
As far as not having mom there,
I want to
Or
hear
even-
this one. I want to hear this one.
as far as not having mom there or even her little brother there, I think that yes, things, because one thing leads to another. But I think if my friends were there, I've noticed that with other relationships, if you see two of your friends, kissing or making out, you really don't want to see that. You really don't. And then all the friends around will be like, get a room or something. So I know how it is when I'm with another couple. So when she's with me, I'll hold hands with her, or I'll give her kisses on the cheek, but that's about as far as that goes. But if no one's around, yeah, one thing tends to lead to another. And I'm only a week into the relationship, so nothing, really goes on. But I know from past experiences with other relationships, yeah, you never really want to be alone with her, or else that will happen. But yeah, I'm not even gonna say, oh no, I'm big, I can, do good and, chastity this and chastity that. And I'm a virgin, but I mean, just one thing leads to another, and just builds after a while. So you always kind of want to have at least, maybe a couple people around until there's more of a friendship than there's a relationship, because you're not always going to like each other. And when you don't always like each other, you want to have a friendship to fall back on. So, and when you have that friendship to fall back on, it's not always about, the kissing, the touching. Sometimes when you're alone with each other, then, that's not really the first thing on your mind.
See the one thing that I can say, his answer, because because I know Austin, he's way more mature than I was when I was his age. And one of the main reasons is because of I would say our mentor, and we are his mother is constantly putting him in good situations and surrounding him with positive energy and good advice. And he's a teenager. And sometimes we look at Austin and, like I said, we like this red Austin, because he's 17 years old. But we know Austin is he's a good kid. And for him to say what he just said, I'm going like, boy, when I was 17, ain't no way in the world I was thinking like that.
Exactly.
Something like, no, I wouldn't. When I was 17, I wasn't thinking like that.
And I have to also be honest, even though I put myself in the geezer class, I like to say, in terms of age, that even in my 17, I wasn't thinking like that.
Right.
And I really have to commend, Austin and also Eric, because I hear them talking about the quality in the relationship, and not just the sex or the ability to be sexual, with a girl.
Right, and that was one of the things that I picked up on, because he started talking about quality in the relationship, and I was looking like, I wasn't thinking about that when I was his age. I wasn't thinking about what he was thinking about.
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, so that's why I know when I was 16, 17, I wasn't ready for any of this. And you said I was just a horny little kid. You look like you were going to say something. What is it that you were going to say?
I just wanted to add, and Charles, I mean, with David Washington and you, Austin also counts on you as a backboard too, and I need to add that because you've also been a great mentor towards him as well, and I count on that. I truly count on that, and David Washington, because it's like, I am a single mother. He does have a father, and I'm not, but in all honesty, it's you and him that, for advice, that's who he turns to, because his dad's not there. I mean, to call long distance, to pick up the phone, it's just not as feasible as a person that stops by at least once a week and says, hey, how are you doing? And you guys are usually there when something big's happening, like the first date. But not only that, you guys make it funny, you make it fun, and he trusts you guys. That's what, I count on.
One of the things, and Splenda, I'm glad that you mentioned that, the role of mentors, especially with young men, is so important. And again, it doesn't have to be a dad or biological dad, etc. Because I remember in my life, some of the men that were very important to me because my dad worked like 16, 18 hours a day. But the men that I was around allowed me to model some of the positive behaviors and to be able to think about what I wanted to do with my life. Some of the advice that I got may not have been the best advice because at times it may have been the blind leading the blind, but many more of the men that were around me had that sense of being responsible, and I could see within them some of the things that I wanted to be. So that role of mentoring and modeling, I think, is just super critical.
Well, I don't. Just 2 years ago, the annual event that I do every year, the topic one of the workshops was geared towards single mothers, and to try to help them understand how important it is to have that male role model. I know it's hard sometimes, and then there's so many things that get in the way, whether or not they're angry with the father, their misunderstanding of the role that they play, because you can't be all of it. Sometimes you are forced to be, but God made it a certain way. And the purpose of the workshop was to try to help them understand that you have to try, whether or not it's a coach, whether or not it's somebody at the church, whether or not it's an uncle, whether or not it's a neighbor, something that, and as well as the girls, that you have to try to have that balance.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. If I'm raising my son or my daughter, I need that other female there, because that's the way God made it. Okay. And as you know, a lot of times there's other situations that happens, and sometimes people are angry, and the child is the bigger picture. Not your issue.
Exactly.
Not your issue.
Right. Exactly.
So, but you were on the panel, and along with Pastor Jenkins and Vince Carter, you guys did a great job.
Okay. Well, I wanted to get back to the moms. As we're talking about the role of men in these young men's lives, and I'd like to get just some thoughts that the moms may have about that. Okay. Go ahead, Julia.
Well, the role model, the man role model that's in my son's life is his father. They spend time together. I think that he's more open with me than he is his dad. Just because of the relationship that we have. But he is around a good person. He's around a real man. He also shows him about responsibility and how to be a man and take on a responsibility and do the right thing.
And one of the things, Julie, I wanted to say is that that you're a blended family, because you and Eric's dad came together when Eric was fairly grown, and you as a mom has made the bridge of building that bond, with Eric, and the boys, and Eric's dad has built that bond with your girls. So I think you had an additional task in being able to, if you want to call it,
Combine the two.
Combine it, and I'm going to call it, and also give up some of that role of having to be mom and dad.
Yes.
And that's not easy.
No.
Okay.
It isn't, because I am a very independent person. I have always been. Through the things that I've been through in life, it made me the person that I am. And it just have me with open arms, especially when it comes to kids. And when Eric came into my life, it was like I rebirthed another son. But I'm glad that he's in my life.
Oh, mother-son moment. Okay. Glenda, did you want to say something?
Well, my son and his father, they do have, I mean, they have a relationship. He sees his father twice a year, maybe 2 weeks out of the year. So he loves his father. I know he does, but his father's also in the military, and he lives in Virginia. We're in Florida. So, like I said, there's no one else in my life, but he's always had. I've always he's always, since we moved here to Florida. We met David Washington as a soccer coach. He was a soccer coach for my son for 6 seasons. And then, he was so young, and he started teaching him martial arts. And then we met Charles, and Charles would always come around. But David Washington has been the biggest male role model to him. Work-wise, my brother, and he's learning how to work. So he's learning the aspect of work, but with respect and how to treat women and ladies. And it's just been David Washington and Charles. They're always there for him.
So it's almost like that concept that we talk about, that it takes a village, to raise a child. And so that village may not be biologically connected, but having the care and the concern and the love of other individuals, in Austin's life, from what I'm hearing, Glenda, that's made the difference, and it's kind of given you some ease in terms of your role as a mom. Is that?
Yes, it has. I mean, I also, the one last thing I have to say is, always having God in his life and bringing that into those role models, but also including God first, has been a big part of the way I feel that he's become into a better person. Because if he didn't have God and he didn't have those men, I don't think that it'd be the same.
And I want to say that's one of the key to the relationship with Austin, is that Austin is always constantly being told about who Christ is, and he has an interest in getting to know Christ better. And so, like I said, he's much more mature than I ever was when I was his
age. Okay.
And so I just say that I know Austin is a good kid, and like I said, he's 17, and,
okay.
and being a kid, he's still gonna get better with Austin. Austin. Because we were just talking, in their generation now, and it's being told and talked about how parenting in the relationships and how kids should be and how they act out on television. And they're actually taught to express themselves in a way that you look at them and like they don't understand that they're being totally disrespectful. But they don't understand that. And and I told him, he was telling the story and he was talking about himself, and every time he said something I went like this right here. And then I said, well, Austin, the reason why I do that is because I'm trying to picture myself being you in front of my mother right now, and I'm getting the beat down because I can just see it right now. I'm like, oh, Austin, I can't do that, man. I can't even think. I can't even suck my teeth. I can't look at her like that.
Oh, yeah.
These words can't come out my mouth. Right. I can't do that, man. It's just, I know that. So I already know what's coming. So I told him, I said, it's not that I didn't think it, but it never came out. When I walked away, I went in the room. I was the bad guy then. She better not mess with me. But I was in the room by myself.
Exactly.
It wasn't in front of her. Are you
and,
kidding me?
And you better not have them overhear you
Right.
in the room,
Right.
because you'd hear the voice coming through the door. Say, what?
And then,
What?
And if you walked away with an attitude as she sent you in the other room and she saw you with attitude, that was a whole nother story by itself.
Oh, yes.
So you, no. So that's why I'm like, Austin, no. Because I just could see it coming. Like,
Exactly.
no.
Exactly. And and I wanted to also give Julia just a few seconds because I know we're going to have to come to the close in a little while. But Julia, I remember you were talking about feeling that you were old school in terms of some of the ways that you related to your children, and also to Eric. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit?
Well, actually, I was raised by old people, and their ways and the things and how they did their thing, it really stuck with me. So yes, I am old school. I will put you in the corner and have you with one leg up.
Remember now, it's being recorded.
I know.
Go ahead, tell it like it is.
Hey, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it teaches them to be respectful, especially to adults and to their peers. That's basically what it is. I mean,
You know
got a
what?
question?
You know what? To be honest, I don't have kids, and I don't know how parents. I don't know how you can raise a child now. I just don't know how. Cause it was funny because I was just talking about this the other day. Because you come into my house, and you're gonna tell me how to raise my child, and tell me what I can and cannot do. But the minute my child, and now I'm talking to the judge. Now I'm talking
Okay,
to the judge.
all right.
Now,
Okay, right.
I'm talking to the judge because I'm standing in front of the judge. Now the minute my child act out in front of the people that got me here, or the reason why he or she may be here, they can tase them, they can hit them, and they can shoot them. But the minute they act out with me, you gonna limit me. I'm trying to do what I need to do so my child don't stand in front of you.
Right.
To raise my child to be a law-providing, loving, God-fearing, decent human being, and you're gonna tell me how to come in, and you're gonna come into my house. I would never. I got the beat down many times. I tell you right now, I was never abused. Now I'm not saying that's the way you should do it, but if this is how I want to raise my child, and I know I love my child, you shouldn't be able to come in here unless you know I'm abusing my child.
Right.
Unless you know I'm abusing my child, because you know what you get jacked up in the middle.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
You know what?
In my day, one of the famous things, and I know that probably happened to you, where your parents would say to you, I brought you into this world, and I'll take you out. And see, back in my days, you totally believed it because you knew.
I will tell the story. I tell this story all the time. Over the years, I've always told this story, and this was a true story. There was a young white kid, blonde kid named Mike Cook. I'll always remember Mike Cook because Mike Cook was this little cocky kid in 7th grade. In either 8th or 9th grade, we got into a little feud. I didn't fight. It wasn't a bad kid. And for something happened when we got into a little argument on the baseball field when everybody was leaving. It was him, it was and 3 of my friends. So everybody else had left. And we got into this confrontation. And I kicked him. I never kicked anybody before. I don't know what happened and why I kicked him. And Mike kicked me back. Except this, he kicked me back twice as hard as I kicked him on my shin. And it hurt. And it was one of those things when he kicked me so hard, your immediate reaction was to hit him. And when that pain shot through me, I looked at Mike. I thought about going down to the Dean's of Boys office, getting suspended. Now I'm trying to explain to my mother why I'm suspended from school. Okay? I looked at Mike, and I guarantee you to this very day, Mike thought I was afraid of him. I walked away from Mike, and it had nothing to do with Mike.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yep.
Because I just saw my mother when I looked at him trying to explain to her why I got suspended from school.
Right, exactly.
And I looked at him, and he probably showed him. No, you didn't, dude. And it was never a discussion of the fight because my friends were standing right over there. They didn't see what was going on, but they were the only ones over there. And there was a friend of mine who I've been knowing since kindergarten that would have just hit Mike because it was Tuesday by himself.
Right.
So it was just, I thought of my mother, I thought of the consequences. I see you, Mike, and I walked away from it.
Exactly.
I did not want to deal with my mother.
Exactly. The role of parents, again, has been made just, I think, exceedingly difficult. You know, and I commend these two mothers that are sitting in front of us, you know, for the young men that they've raised, and you know, and their families, because to try to do that in today's world with all of the external influences, just as you're saying, you know, having to appear in front of a judge because of something that a child has done, you know, is got to be devastating. One of the things that I remember in coming up, that quite frankly, the way that I got raised, there could have been many cases of abuse that would have been legitimately raised, you know, against my dad, okay? But you see, my dad was one of those folks that would have said, listen, I'm going to give you the telephone and you call those people, and, you know, when you get here, I hope that you're still able to walk and talk, because they can also take you, you know, because I'm not having it in my house, okay? But again, in reality, this is the 21st century. One of the disadvantages many of our young families have is that they don't have the kind of supports that we did, because in addition to my parents, when I grew up, my grandparents were there. So that, you know, if they were in any way feeling shaky about their decisions, the grandparents were there to back them up. And usually the grandparents, you know, would, and I loved my grandmother, but my grandmother would say, what? Spare the rod, spoil the child. And that was her point of view. And, but could be the warmest person in the world. And I understood that love and concern, but also that discipline and sternness. Today, it is really difficult because many of our young families don't have the parents, you know, to back them up, don't have the grandparents there. And so basically, they have to, it's almost like trying to fly a plane without having the instruction manual, you know, and learning as you go along. So I want to commend these two, I have to say young women, because you know, I'm in a whole 2 generations beyond them, okay? But I have to say, and I'm going to give them the last word, and saying how you feel about your roles as mothers, you know, in this time. Go ahead.
Well, I actually feel that I've been through a lot of things in my life that made me the person that I am, so that I can be responsible and caring and a caregiver for the kids that I'm raising. And that's what helped me. My past makes their future brighter, because I've been through a lot in life, and the things that I went through in life, I don't want either one of my kids to go through that.
Okay. Splendid.
Well, like Julie said, I have also been through a lot growing up, and I've always told my son, you know, I always wanted better for you. So, in raising my son, people ask me, you know, how do you raise such a great kid? And what I've always said is, you know, God comes first, and then after that, everything that you would have wanted in your life to be different, you do that for them. And that's what I've done. Anything that I didn't want or didn't like that my mom did growing up, I did the opposite. So, I mean, I felt like, you know, there's certain things in life that could have been done better, and that's what I changed.
And now that's a great segue, because now we get to hear what Pastor Jenkins had to say.
Okay.
I went to my pastor and told him about the topic and the subject that we were going to be talking about today, and he shed some light on us. So let's see if I can pull them up real quick. And
This is Pastor Omega Jenkins from True Vine Baptist Church. First, I give thanks and honor to God for this opportunity to share in this subject of dating, parents of teens who are dating these days and times. I thank God for the opportunity to share in this, and I thank Him for those who are opening up this conversation and giving their views and doing what we can to help each other through such endeavors. Now, my point on this is to, if I could say anything to the parents who have teens who are dating, first of all, make sure that teen is taught their worth. Make sure they understand risk versus reward. Make sure they understand that they're more than some of the decisions that they may be confronted with, and they can embrace them as such. Also, when it comes to loving our children, we have to make sure that we carefully strategize, orchestrate, and mobilize our love. Disciplinarian only is not enough anymore. Coveting the child is not enough anymore. You have to carefully strategize your love in a way that they may not always like the way we love them, but we love them the same. And our love eventually will prove to them that it's there to edify them and not to tear them down. It's there actually to liberate them and not keep them locked down, so to speak. These are the things that we have to make sure that in our conversations around the dinner table or just general conversations, that we make sure we stress and that they understand.
okay,
Very good.
Pastor Jenkins, we thank you. Thank you. He will, at some point in time, he said the schedule will kind of clear up after this month and he can come on the show.
Right.
We just have to let him know ahead of time.
Okay.
You've been watching the journey with Dr. Robinson and myself, Charles Morrison. We want to thank our guests, the lovely mothers who's doing a great job. Can I get you guys just to give yourself a round of applause? Please?
All right. Good job. All right.
Quickly, Dr. Robinson, tell us what's coming up in the show in the future. What because this is his baby, his.
We're in the hour.
So there's some things that's coming up. So I want you to share with us real quick before we.
Great.
Get out
Okay,
of here.
very briefly, we have a real treat for you coming up. We're going to continue in the series talking about relationships, but next week, because of the importance of the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin trial, that we are going to bring you next week some individuals, experts, who will be two lawyers and a community activist that will talk with us about the possible impact of that trial. And we don't know what the decision is tonight as we're speaking, but by next week, we feel that we'll have that information. We'll have our show centered around that. We'll talk about not only just the trial, but what it means for us, again, for our young people, for our community, and for our nation. So stay tuned on the journey. The journey is not just the journey of place, space, and time, but it's the journey from me to you and from me to you. Thank you.
All right. So everybody say bye-bye.
Bye.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.